In this video, all students will be able to review single variable inequalities. This is a true review video. This is not what your lesson is going to be about tomorrow, but there are some things that I need to review that will be relevant to tomorrow's lesson. Okay, I want to review inequalities in particular. Here's example number 1. I know that this is an inequality because I see an inequality symbol. Okay, what does this symbol mean? This symbol means greater than. I know a lot of students struggle with remembering how to read that symbol. So 3x minus 1 is greater than 13. I know that this is an inequality. It is not an equation because equations have equal signs, okay? So this is not an equation, this is an inequality. Let's go ahead and solve. It's very similar to solving an equation. We get 3x is greater than 14, divide by 3's, and I get x is greater than 14/3. A lot of you would probably think you made a mistake because you got a fraction. That is okay. Fractions are okay. Let's figure out what 14/3 is. I get another 2, which means I'm going to get another 20, which means that the 6 is repeating. So x is greater than 4.6 repeating. I could list my answer either way. Okay, now, x is greater than 4.6 repeating, or x is greater than 14/3. How many answers does that represent, is my question to you. How many answers does that represent? How many answers are there in this inequality? If you said there's one answer, you're wrong. If you said there was 2 answers, you're wrong. If you start guessing 3 and 4 and 0 answer, blah, 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 you're wrong as well. I need you to think about what do these statements actually mean. X is greater than 4.6 repeating. X can be any number that's greater than 4.6, and it's an answer then. If it's greater than 4.6 repeating, it's an answer. So 5 is greater than 4.6 repeating. 6 is an answer that's greater than 4.6 repeating. 6.5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. It goes on forever. There's infinite possible answers. Infinite means never ending. Okay? There are infinite numbers that are greater than 4.6 repeating. I can't tell you there's just one answer. It looks like one answer, but think about what it means. X has to be greater than that. Well, that's infinite possibilities. So anyways, in this lesson, I wanted to review 2 things. How to solve an inequality, and then the fact that it's infinite solutions. Here we go with number 2. I'm going to solve in a very similar fashion. 2x is less than 18. Divide by 2's, and I get x is less than 9. A lot of you are probably happier with that answer because it's not a fraction, but we'll work on that. So the answer here is x is less than 9. Okay? It looks like one answer, but in fact you know that it represents infinite solutions or infinite answers. Okay? Answers, solutions, possibilities, etc. Okay? There's actually infinite answers within that statement because x just has to be less than 9. It could be 8, it could be 7, it could be 6, it could be 5, it could be 4.9, it could be 4.8, it could be 4.7, it could be 4.6. It could be all of these things. It just has to be less than 9. Okay, so x is less than 9, and that, by the way, means infinite solutions. All right, number 3 looks very similar, and it looks very similar on purpose. You'll see why. So I get negative 2x is less than 18. Have you seen what the big deal is with this problem yet? Take a look at what's happening. Anyone remember stuff about inequalities? What do I need to divide by on both sides? I need to divide by -2. Now do you see it? I'm hoping you remember. When you're doing an inequality, dividing by a negative number requires you to flip the symbol. So the symbol is going to go like that now. I'm going to have x is greater than -9. X has to be a number that's larger than -9. You need to remember that when you divide by a negative, it requires you to flip the symbol. Requires you to flip the symbol. So x is greater than -9. Now, based on our first two examples, you know that that means that there's actually infinite solutions, right? You know that it can be any number that's greater than -9. But because negatives are tricky, I just want to remind you that numbers that are greater than -9 actually get larger. And that means actually -7, -8, -7, -6, -5, -4. You might be thinking, how are these greater than -9? Well, you'll notice I got closer to 0, and then I start on the positives. So hopefully that helps remind you that these numbers are greater, right? And it goes on forever. I'm not going to keep writing them. So x is greater than -9. All right, and so now we're on to example number 5, which is our final example. I'm going to make, one more point, and then you'll do your gate check and whatnot. Okay, so add 12 to both sides. You get 5x is, how do you read the symbol? Say it in your head to make sure that you're reviewing. How do you read that symbol? That is greater than or equal to. And then on this side I add them. Divide by 5s. X is greater than or equal to. I'm going to review this with you just in case you don't know what 60 divided by 5 is. Maybe you do. The answer is 12. Okay, right there, 12. X is greater than or equal to 12. Now, based on our first few examples, you actually know that this statement, while it looks like one solution, actually represents infinite solutions. I'm going to write it in shorthand. Infinite solutions. X can be any number that's greater than or equal to 12. So we know the numbers that are greater than 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 17.1, 17.2, 17.3, etc. The difference here is that there is an or equals to on the bottom here. So that means that x can be all of those numbers that are greater than 12, but it can also be equal to 12. So possible answers actually start with 12. 12, 12.1, 12.5, 13, 14, 15, anything greater than 12. Sorry, anything greater than or equal to 12. Okay, so there's still infinite solutions, but the solutions this time include the number 12. I want you to think of this symbol as these two symbols put together. It's like they split it up or they, combined it, depending on how you look at it. So greater than or equal to actually means the solutions could be greater than, or it could be exactly equal to. All right, thanks for reviewing, guys.